It's time to take a ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive with our co-hosts Alan Saunders and Zachary Smith.
Welcome back to another episode of Steelers Afternoon Drive. I'm Zachary Smith. That is Alan Saunders. Alan, I promised special member of the audience, Brooklyn, that I'd have more energy on today's podcast. She tells a bit down on Misery Monday, so we're bringing the vibes today. Alan, how we doing?
I'm a little bit down. I don't know why. I'm just been tired all day. I don't have a good answer for the reason for that. I just can't get going today.
So. All right. Well, hopefully the music did something for you, and hopefully this conversation even gets us further along there. But yeah, all right. Let's talk some ball. A lot of things to talk about. Obviously, Tomlin Tuesday today as we recap Seahawks week and gear towards Patriots week here. I guess actually piece of news that we can bring up real quick with Jawan Bentley, who was a linebacker for the New England Patriots, coming in for a visit. I just think it's funny if you heard the chuckle that was thrown in there, just because the first thing that I search when I search his name that comes up is how publicly he criticized the New England Patriots for releasing Jabrill Peppers, who is now a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So kind of funny there. If you're looking for, I don't know what anything's going to come of this, but if you're just looking for that like E-Rob replacement, that type of role where probably not going to offer much in coverage, but you're just looking for like downhill thumper, Jawan Bentley, 250 pounds. That's kind of the role that he had played in the past. Don't know if anything's going to come of it. We'll see. But I think in terms of what they're looking for potentially from that linebacker room, sans Malik Harrison, it would make sense.
Yeah, definitely Malik Harrison, Landon Roberts style player, big physical downhill guy. And I think it was pretty clear. Man, did you watch Monday Night Football?
Yes.
Did you see the hit that E-Rob put on Najee Harris?
I did.
Did you?
And I was like,
did your heart kind of like a couple of those? Like, man, that's what the Steelers are missing, isn't it? Like, yeah.
It was like one of those transitions, right? And then all of a sudden, like Linger by the Cranberries is playing, and it's his Steelers highlights. And him making that play at the goal line against the Cowboys was kind of what I felt. But
yeah. Or just ending careers at backs on backers in training camp, which of course I know you haven't seen, but I have.
Yeah, right. But anyways, we'll see if anything comes of that. But to get into Tomlin Tuesday, one of the things that was mentioned was, will Jabrill Peppers play more? Once again, kind of when talking about him, said about more on special teams. We'll see about getting his feet wet more and more as time goes on here within the defense. I know we didn't really talk about him much. Did you make anything of his limited action, getting acclimated with the Steelers? And like, do you feel like there is a potential solution there as time goes on in terms of what he could bring?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a better fit as a do-it-all backup safety than Chuck Clark is. Chuck Clark can play in the box, certainly, but if they need somebody to replace Juan Thornhill, I think he's your guy. If they want to play three safeties and move Deshon Elliott purely into the box. We had a question, actually. One thing about this. So now I'm putting you on the spot here, and it's probably going to take you forever to find it. We had a question about like, what's the difference between a strong safety and a free safety. Maybe I'll do a morning rush whiteboard video on this. Oh, now I'm thinking. The wheels are turning. All right, I'm going to do this on Morning Rush about safeties. But I'll just say this. I think if you're looking for a strong safety that is not in the box, I think like Jabrill Peppers better than any of their other options in terms of being able to cover in space from the strong safety position. I also think if someone actually has to back up Juan Thornhill, I like him the best. And if they want to play three safeties, I think he's a very good fit as well.
I did find it, though, just so you know, Randy Tobias was actually the one that asked about it.
Of course it was Randy Tobias. Of course it was. Love you, Randy.
Yeah. Well, there you go, Randy.
I'm going to do that the whiteboard. It's right here. I'm just going to it's ready to go, but not now.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow morning. I don't know. We'll see, but sometimes
just said yesterday how we need the audience members to provide the topic for the whiteboard to make sense. There you go. There it is right there. So Randy, the whiteboard is coming at you. Also coming out of Mike Tomlin today, kind of speaking of the Jabrill Peppers thing, some injury updates. Obviously, we're waiting on Deshon Elliott to get back into the fold, as well as Derrick Harmon, Joey Porter Jr. Didn't sound particularly positive in terms of thinking that those guys would be available to return. I guess New England Patriots calling them all three questionable at best.
Yeah, wonder if this little gamesmanship there. I think I could see Derrick Harmon and Joey Porter both playing this game, but we'll see.
All right. Well, all right. Okay. I'm not going to get too high or too low on Mike Tomlin, what he said earlier, or what you're saying right now. We'll see how it plays out.
Can't ride the wave. Can't get too high. Can't get too low. That's what Aaron Rodgers told us.
Yep. I mean, I think that applies to life, but I'll certainly apply it here in terms of the injury statuses of some Pittsburgh Steelers who are waiting to get back into the fold for sure.
I would be pretty surprised if Deshon Elliott plays. That would be the one that I think is.
I think even when that happened, we said you're probably looking at
I talked to Deshon about the conflicting reports. Remember, it was like Schultz said one thing and then Rappaport very quickly said the other thing. And I told like the insiders are fighting over here. He goes, well, technically, everyone is day to day, which is a perfect Deshon Elliott is such a troll response to that.
Yeah, is he going to be a head coach after this? It kind of sounds like what someone would say. Like that's like
oh no, I think he's gonna be like the Kendrick Perkins of the NFL. That's what I see Deshon Elliott, just like an on-air troll, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. That just kind of sounded like something Kyle Shanahan would have said a couple years ago, or Mike McDaniel's going down this really weird route now. I mean, his press conferences have always kind of been odd, but it's just getting weirder as time goes on, and I don't know how many more he's going to have anyway. But anyways, different topic. We're not here to talk about the Dolphins. Something else talked about by Mike Tomlin today, and actually we just talked about on the episode yesterday, but the head coach seems to feel the same way, that it was a positive step for Broderick, played better in week 2 than he did in week 1. Kind of getting, I mean, I'm not going to say like singled out, but he was mentioned specifically within that. We already gave our assessments in terms of that, but did you make anything about him specifically talking about Broderick and feeling like he played better in this one?
Well, I thought he did play better. I don't think Mike Tomlin's like blowing smoke with that. It was also like a very, very low bar to clear. That 3 sacks in a game is about as bad as you can get for an offensive lineman, and he was significantly better than that. Yes,
I guess that's the question. Do you think he was actually good, or do you think it was just better than game 1?
I think he was good enough. I think you'll take that game from Broderick Jones. I didn't think the rest of the line, I thought Isaac Seumalo kind of had a rough game.
Yeah,
Troy Fautano had a rough game. I think if you can get that out of Broderick Jones against a pretty good edge rusher, I think you'll take that. I'm not saying it's great or like him living up to his draft pick status or anything like that, but like that's an above replacement level performance for your left tackle.
I don't know if it's because of Seumalo being the guy right next to Broderick or what, but he's definitely, like, every time that I go back and watch, has stood out to me. I don't know about like just as much as Broderick in terms of like the low lights going back to week 1, but I agree in terms of week 2. And I feel like this is not necessarily something new in terms of Isaac having these lows.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting older. He's never really started seasons quickly in his
career. We've mentioned that in the past too.
So I'm not like, I would not like be sounding the red alarm. But I think one of the more frustrating outcomes that is very possible is that the Steelers offensive line ends up being like pretty good when you take the amalgamation of the individual performances, but like on every given week, someone is bad enough to sink the whole ship. You know what I'm saying? Like very much like what happened with the Steelers defense last week, in that like Chris Carter and I on the Locked On podcast today we're giving the grades, and Chris is like, there's a lot of stars here. I'm like, well, yeah, that's what happens when like 10 guys are doing their job pretty well and one guy is doing his job so poorly that like not only does he not make the play, but the other guys in close proximity to him can't make the play. You end up with 10 good grades and a 15-yard run. Like that's what happens. I think the same thing can happen on the offensive line too, where like most of the guys look pretty good most of the time, but if you're not consistent with it, you know, it's tough to that's why I think like Broderick Jones yesterday was talking about gelling. I don't think they're not hanging out enough at dinner. You know, like I think they need 5 guys playing well at the same time, and they're not getting that consistently enough.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. We'll see as time goes on if that does happen. Not a lot, as you mentioned when we were talking beforehand, necessarily came out of Tomlin today, but I think the one big thing everybody was looking for was what is the response going to be about the Kaleb Johnson gaffe on the kickoff return? Went into it, I believe, like when the depth chart was released, right? It still showed him as kick returner too, which would be a starter along with Kenneth Gainwell out there, or whatever. So, but Mike Tomlin said in the short term, he won't be back there, has the opportunity to earn his way back onto the field there. But not just Mike Tomlin's response to this, Alan, but as you mentioned, curious as to what the social media reaction was going to be from it. So I just wanted your thought, honestly, in the entirety of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you ever had any doubt in your mind that the Steelers depth charts mean absolutely nothing, they put one out today, 30 minutes before Mike Tomlin's press conference, that said Kaleb Johnson starting kickoff returner, and Mike Tomlin said absolutely not. So that's about how much stock you should put into those. I don't know that I don't understand why anyone was surprised by this happening.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't make that mistake and not face significant accountability. I mean, I feel like somehow weirdly, and don't get me wrong, there are lots of people I've seen that said like cut him, which is definitely an overreaction.
sure.
There are also a lot of people that seem to not think this is that big of a deal. There was somebody, I can't remember who it was, in the post game we did live, who was like mad that he didn't get more carries. I'm like, more carries.
Oh,
It would not surprise me if Kaleb Johnson is not dressed this week. Like, that would be not at all, because he doesn't have a role. Like, this was the only reason to give him a helmet. He's the third running back. You know, you could bring up Trey Sermon and let him play special teams. I mean,
I was going to ask what the fallout of that is then, because obviously you have Warren and Gainwell, but I know like Connor Hayward's like the emergency back or whatever, I guess, if something happens in game.
yeah.
But
I mean,
I wasn't even thinking about Trey Sermon.
Play too, but like,
yeah,
that is as bad of a single play as I can really remember.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what's the last worst single Steelers play?
I mean, Gunnero had a couple on punt returns, right? Like basically,
but I mean, none of them just handed the other team a touchdown because you didn't understand the rules of the one play where you actually play. Mm-hmm. Like, I was feeling bad in post game about like feeling like you had to kind of kill the kid for the play, but like maybe we didn't kill him enough. Like the people aren't getting it. Like, this is one of the worst plays in Steelers history. It is almost impossible to make a play that bad. Like, there have to be significant accountability here. I don't know. Like, I think some people seem to be missing and like someone in my mentions, like, he'll do this, but he won't bench Broderick Jones. I'm like, how are those two things even remotely comparable? like they're just not. They're just not. I mean, if Broderick Jones had like gotten the play wrong, ran to the wrong side of the field, allowed a free rusher who hit Aaron Rodgers, broke his neck, caused a fumble, recovered for a touchdown, that might be this bad. But like, he's never done anything like that. Like, I mean, I just like it's almost impossible for an offensive lineman to have a play as significantly negative as that play was. Mm-hmm. And especially when you consider he wasn't doing anything else positive. Like, there's no offset. If you go out there and you have a game where you make one big boneheaded dumb play, but then like the rest of your game is fine, you know, you're going to get to keep this was all he was being trusted to do, and he somehow screwed it up.
Right. And honestly, probably shouldn't have been out there to begin with. Like, if you want to criticize that part of it, then sure.
Totally agree that he shouldn't have been out there to begin with. He showed no aptitude for it. He had minimal history doing it. He fumbled the previous week. This seemed like in hindsight, it seems like it was waiting to happen. But yeah, like, and you know, I mean, I asked the question knowing what the answer was, but you know, like you gotta ask it. I'm glad Mike Tomlin addressed it head on. I can't imagine any other way.
Yeah, the reaction is, to me, is always kind of bizarre. I feel like you just have like both extremes there. And yeah, I mean, like awful. I 100% agree with him being taken out of that role. And I mean, yeah, we'll see about him even getting a helmet, but like to go as far as saying he should be cut, I think is taking it way too far. Yeah, I think it's very, I mean, there was a lot of middle ground here for what should happen, but people still have a hard time finding it for whatever reason, and jump to both sides of the extreme there. But I don't know. I think that we even got a question about this, and something was on my mind that I wanted to bring up anyway. There's a lot of people that I feel like I have no problem going back and forth with somebody and disagreeing, but like when I'm not even sure like what we're agreeing or disagreeing about, it kind of makes it tough to do so. It's just like when you're talking about everything that's going on with the Steelers right now, there's not one thing to say why this is happening. And people, I think, have a hard time divvying up the blame when that's the case. And, like our comments right now, if you go on YouTube, are flooded with people that are saying that Terrell Austin doesn't call the plays. And you're just basically caping for Mike Tomlin if you say that he is and all this other stuff. And it's just like, if you don't know the facts of what you're talking about, what's even the point of having a conversation with you? You know what I mean? And I just think that there's a lot of questions because the fan base does not know the order of operations, if you will, the way things are going, that they're having an argument about something that they don't know about. And it's just hard to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I want to get your thought on that. And I mean, pretty definitively, you would say Terrell Austin is calling the plays on defense.
Yeah. I mean, Mike Tomlin will walk over and make a call every once in a while, but Terrell Austin's calling the defense. And the other one is like, I saw somebody say that they don't blitz, that they are fourth or third, I think now, in the NFL in blitz rate right now.
Yeah. Like, do you think, by the way, that I know that I mentioned this yesterday, but I wanted like the other angle of it because, should they get away from blitzing as much as they are because they're getting beat on the back end and they're sending so many bodies at the same time? You kind of have to if you're not stopping the run. But also the other angle to look at it, right, is do they kind of realize that they need to send that many bodies, not just from a like stopping the run standpoint, but also like if TJ's not getting home in the way you've seen him do in the past, if you're not creating pressure, rushing 3 or 4 like they have been able to before.
It's all the above. You're not stopping the run, which means you're not getting teams into 3rd and 10, which is when you have to run routes that are deep enough that a 4-man rush can get there. When you're in 3rd and 4, a 4-man rush isn't going to get there because the quarterback's throwing the ball as soon as his back foot hits the ground. The only way to get pressure on 3rd and 4 is to bring interior pressure, which means you got to have some kind of stunt or loop or a blitz, right? You have to bring it in the quarterback's face or it's not going to get there in time. It doesn't matter how fast TJ Watt is off the edge from a wide 9. If it's a 3-step drop and the ball's out, he doesn't have a chance. So I think it's all related. But when you're blitzing on 2nd and 6, you're blitzing just as effectively against the run as you are in the pass, right? So when you're not stopping the run, you're sending more guys into the box to stop the run. You're also blitzing because you're trying to get interior pressure because you're dealing with short yardage situations on 3rd down, and you're not giving the quarterback isn't going to made to be held the ball long enough for your edge rushers to get there. It's all connected. Bad defenses have to blitz more. Period. Like good defenses, great defenses can run 5. And that's definitely an issue right now.
Yeah, it's a domino effect. Which, if this team, I'm not necessarily predicting that's going to happen. We talked a lot yesterday. Like, there's not just some magic button to press, even when you do get Derrick, Harmon, Deshon Elliott back into the fold, Joey Porter back in the fold, for them to all of a sudden be able to stop the run. But like that has to come first and foremost before the other things are going to fall into place, if they are going to fall into place. Speaking of it kind of just being like, a cumulative thing every little bit, Matt's question is kind of about that, maybe bigger picture here, but he said Allen, and by the way, he combined like the forms of Allen here. Like he used, there's an A, not an E, but there's also 2 L's. So I don't know if we could give him a pass on this one or not. Allen, how do you feel about ALLAN?
It's fine.
It's not correct, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Alan, please, sir, tell us Steelers fans why on earth we are stuck in purgatory. Is it coaching, money, scheme, scouting, or all the above? Thanks, Alan and Smitty. You gentlemen have a wonderful day. No, Matt. You have a wonderful day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Steelers are stuck in purgatory. I think the Steelers are rebuilding. I think they are not going to rebuild quickly because they're not going to be bad on purpose, nor are they bad enough to be bad naturally. And so
I think that's where the purgatory is the result, not the process. I think from Matt's point of view here.
Yeah, well, I mean, the lesson should be that the result does not matter and the process does. But purgatory is the wrong word for it. They're rebuilding. They've been rebuilding since Omar Khan was hired as general manager. There will not be linear progress in rebuilding either. There will be draft picks that bust and flame out. Guys get hurt, whatever. But they are a rebuilding team. They do not have most of the pieces that will be on this team the next time the Steelers are a championship contender. They just don't. Steelers won the Super Bowl in 2005. I know for a lot of you, that is your earliest memory of the Steelers being a great team. Go look at the Steelers draft classes leading up to that Super Bowl. Hines Ward was drafted in 1998. Alan Faneca was drafted in 1999. Like to build a championship caliber team, you have to, from nothing, which is basically what the Steelers had. If you look at the 2019 Steelers, that is as bad on paper of an NFL team as you will ever find on the offensive side of the ball. And so to get to where they want to be from there, it's going to take a long time. And the defense, which was great, is getting older. There's no question about that. And so maybe they can maintain the defense. Maybe they can't. That's an unanswered question. Doesn't look great right now, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, you now have an offensive line that has 4 young players, all under the age of 25. You've got young players at 2 or 3 top wide receiver spots. You got a relatively young running back. You got a relatively young tight end. The quarterback's coming. Like this is a rebuild. It's not the Browns, nor should you want to be the Browns. But this is a rebuild nonetheless, and it's probably not that close to being done either. But that doesn't mean it's purgatory. Like, you can look at the progress towards that end goal, and I think part of it is people just don't. The Steelers don't necessarily want to say they're rebuilding, and some people just don't want to believe it.
Right. And when the results haven't been bad, obviously, like, you're still competing. And when I say competing, I don't necessarily mean for a championship, but in contention to make the playoffs every single year and always playing meaningful football games right until the very end. I can understand why that would create some confusion in terms of where you are in the process. And going back to, bumps being along the road, you're going to hit, you're going to bust. And it's just like, hopefully that quarterback is one of the hits, right? Because you're talking about how much could be set back there. If they don't hit on the quarterback, how much further are you talking about the road, the can being kicked down the road? If you're talking about having to wait,
they miss on this quarterback. They already missed on one. Now, obviously, that was a different front office. If they miss on this quarterback, now you've eliminated the possibility of getting there with TJ and Cam, and you're totally resetting both sides of the ball at that point.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think that there probably is just some disconnect because of the results not being as bad as what you would consider for most rebuilding teams. But personally, I'm appreciative of still being able to watch competitive football while we're going through the process of this.
One would think that a city that contains the Pittsburgh Pirates would just that's appreciation for what you got.
That's what okay. So I'm also appreciative of the Pittsburgh Pirates because they make me appreciate what I got. I always say that to Tyler. They prepare you for life as a sports fan, being at the lowest of lows. So that's what the Pirates and like, that's their role.
Between the Pirates and the Browns being so close, Steelers fans should have plenty of evidence as to why you should not want that in your life.
Yeah.
And yet they still complain about what they have.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, like somebody asked me, like this team's still going to the playoffs. Like no one should think that they're not at this point.
I feel so. Oh, you know what? I guess we should touch on that too. I mean, we didn't bring it up yesterday, even though the news came out yesterday. Like, you look at the quarterbacks that they're going to be facing within this recent stretch. Like, no Joe Burrow now on the schedule. And I don't know how you would have felt about facing JJ McCarthy as opposed to now it's going to be Carson Wentz. But like,
I'm not sure that one's a downgrade much.
Yeah,
JJ's looked pretty awful.
So obviously you got Drake May this upcoming week, but then you got Carson Wentz.
Holding things down for my fantasy team right now. We really.
I mean, I'm a Drake May fan. I put it out there. I know how well Jaden Daniels played last year. I know, Caleb Williams was kind of the guy coming out. Drake May was my QB1 from that draft class. So I love Drake May.
I thought that Drake May would be better than Jaden Daniels, and I may still be holding on to that prior.
Yeah, we'll see how. I mean, great rookie season. We'll see how it ages. Week 4 though, Ireland. Now it's going to be Carson Wentz. They got the bye. Then they got Cleveland. We'll see if that's still Joe Flacco. And then you got no Joe Burrow. That Thursday night game against Cincinnati. So you look at the upcoming schedule there. That's what it looks like before that Sunday night against Green Bay. So I don't know. I mean, next 4 games: Drake May, Carson Wentz, Joe Flacco maybe, and Jake Browning for the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, it's not great. And on one hand, that's good. On the other hand, they almost lost to Justin Fields and they just lost to Sam Darnold. So
and then look at what Justin Fields looked like against Buffalo after playing against the Steelers.
Yeah. So I mean, it's good news, but we'll see.
Yeah.
He'll play better.
Listen, I wasn't saying that to talk down to those. I was more so, well, it's relevant because it's the news, obviously, that we forgot to touch on yesterday. But it just, goes to show the opportunity is there, and we'll see what they make of it, because you're going to have to stack wins now with what it looks like down the stretch.
Yeah.
Hey, we got we got another DM, by the way, from our guy Tiago, so we got to bring this up. One question, maybe talk about Skylar Thompson currently on the injured reserve, and is compulsory to be in the IR for 4 weeks. Can any team like Minnesota or Cincinnati still trade for him? If yes, the player's still listed on IR for the new team, or does he have to be on the 53?
Yes, you can trade a player on the injured reserve, but he still has to miss 4 games while on the IR. So,
just happened with New England traded Jalen Polk after being put on IR for missing the entire season. So
yeah, I highly doubt there's any trade market for Skylar Thompson, injured or uninjured.
They're just sending that preseason tape around to everybody. Just like, hey, I don't know if you guys saw this. I'm pretty
sure he would clear waivers.
I should have brought this one up when we were talking about Kaleb Johnson earlier, but got to mention this because where Oliver is sending us a message from. Hope KJ gets an opportunity to atone for his mistakes soon. Also hope the Steelers get right in the next 2 games. Greetings from a Steelers fan in the Fiji Islands, Alan. Oliver Williams. Do I got to say it?
It's awesome.
So I got to say it. You know how I feel about the crowd here. It's awesome when we learn of people listening or watching to the podcast in different parts of the world. Man, I mean, I just read something from Tiago, Brazilian in Finland, and now we're talking about Fiji. This is awesome. We're just a melting pot, if you will, in the Steelers Afternoon Drive for Steelers fans. So we appreciate you guys. Wanted to get to a question here from a longtime member of the audience. Are Alan and Chris Burkbile related? They got to be, right? Is that common of a last name?
I would think.
Okay, well, so we talked a lot about Alan's questions. We got one from Chris here. And he said, Alan, can you address what teams are doing to limit TJ Watt's sack production? It's been a while since he had one. Do teams have a blueprint to limit him, do you think? Do you think that he's lost a step? What do we expect moving forward?
Well, I think he's the blueprint for limiting him is team dependent. Like, yeah, they're not getting in teams into 3rd and long. And even when they are getting him into 3rd and long, they're not getting them one-dimensional. The Seahawks were still running on 3rd and long and getting to 4th and short and then going for it. So, Yeah, I mean, it's I think he's pretty close. But I don't think I think it's a little soon to say that TJ Watt is washed up, but I think there's a couple plays that he hasn't made so far that he normally would. And I don't know if it's just a slow start or what.
I think that's the thing. Is I mentioned this yesterday. Like, it's the thing that teams are throwing at him. It's not like it's new. It's just we're not seeing him overcome them in a way that he has in the past. And it's not to say that it won't happen again. It just hasn't happened yet this year. And honestly, going back through a stretch of last year, and I know he got hurt in that Eagles game last year, and that certainly played into that. Would like to think that that's still not impacting him right now, and that he is fully healthy, still defending the run at a very high level. But yeah, I mean, again, are there things that could be done by his teammates in the collective that would then make him put in more advantageous situations? Sure. But I also, again, just feel like I've watched him make plays in similar situations that he's not making right now for whatever reason.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's all the above, right? It's situational, it's team, and then him. It's not like it's far. It's like one step off from making a lot of plays.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully it's coming. Hopefully it's coming this upcoming Sunday against the New England Patriots. We will continue to talk about this matchup as we go throughout the week here. Alan, anything else you feel like pressing for today?
Nope. Did we talk about Isaiah Hodgins? I think that's
No, you know what? Yeah, no, we completely. I brought up Bentley, but I didn't bring up the one that they actually signed. Wide receiver Isaiah Hodgins, who had a nice little end of 2022 with the Giants, the year that they made the playoffs. Daniel Jones won pretty decent year with the Giants. Had a little bit of a connection those last 4 or 5 weeks. Carried a little bit into the playoffs. Actually beat the Vikings in a playoff game. Did the Giants. Also had been with the Bills. Spent some time with the 49ers. Big body dude. We'll see. We'll see what he brings to the table, what he brings to this team, how quickly he can get acclimated with Aaron. But I don't know. I think I threw this name out there like last year as a flyer for them to take. But again, this is a different type of archetype receiver, right? That I've been talking about adding to the room, and we'll see if he can get on the field.
Yeah, bigger guy, not a special teamer, just a pure X receiver. Not the fastest guy in the world, but physical, blocks okay. We'll see where it goes, but I think that's a decent fit.
Yeah. Yeah. Just in terms of, again, adding a different type of body to the room, there's your backup X. Now, if God forbid something happens to DK, definitely don't want that to happen, but he at least, and again, I'm not saying that he would match the production that would be voided, but he plays that role. So yeah, we'll see if he can make an impact and if he can get on the field, but continue to talk about things throughout the rest of the week, Alan. But until then, tell the people they can find you.
Hey, Saunders _PGH on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. PGH Steelers Now, sites account, SteelersNow.com. Go there, read the words so I can get paid. Sign up for SN Plus. September 29th, SN Plus, members only live stream, me, Smitty, DB right here on your YouTube channel, doing all kinds of cool stuff. And then we got on over to YouTube where anyone can subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, and subscribe. It's free. Helps us grow this YouTube channel to a bigger and bigger audience. Hit that round number yesterday. We had the 99 come out yesterday, which is always nice. You like the round numbers. So now we are at 16,700, and I feel like we were just at this number. Cameron Johnston, no longer with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He signed somewhere, didn't he? The Bills.
Bills. Yeah.
16,000.
A couple quarterbacks are the only ones that come to mind for me with this. Obviously, then, current Jalen Ramsey. Bruce Gradkowski and Josh Dobbs both were number 5, and I've mentioned them in the
Terry
past.
Terry Hanratty was number 5, another quarterback way back. Yeah. And not much else. Not much else.
So there you go. If you're listening somewhere else, Apple, Spotify, wherever your podcast from, be sure there's a 5-star review and subscribe over there. Just search through his afternoon drive. Do the same thing on TikTok. Then you'll find me everywhere. Zachary Smith, PGH. For Alan Saunders and myself, thanks for jumping in. Take another ride on the Steelers afternoon drive.